Well, g'day everybody. Sam Marwood here from Cultivate Farms. We're all about making your farming dreams a reality. And to help you get there, we're out and about, trawling the internet, trawling the real world, trying to find all those other people out there in Australia who want to see you realise your farming dreams as well. And that is why today I'm excited to let you know we are chatting with Jack Archer from the Regional Australia Institute. Jack, welcome and thanks for your time.
Thanks, Sam. It's great to have a chat.
So you guys are all about, thinking of how you make regional communities awesome. And I just want to make a quick plug that we've been nominated as one of the 10 for the Regional Lightbulb Moments initiative, which is awesome, from RAI and FRRR, and who else is backing it? Jack, there's a few
Prime
others.
7, mate. Prime 7's the other big backer, and they've been kind enough to put it on the telly for us, which was really nice of them.
Brilliant. So will my head be on telly, or is it just everyone's?
I don't know, mate. It's we can only hope.
I love it. No, we appreciate the recognition. So in your words, Jack, what does RAI do? What do you do day to day from that office there?
So look, I think that it's a bit jargony, but we're pretty much a think tank. So basically, the reason we're here is no one outside politicians is really taking up the case for regions here in Canberra. So, you know, the evidence about how regions are changing, a lot of that gets chewed up in the public discussion. We have a really negative view of what's happening in regional Australia, which really clouds a lot of the decision making. We also have a lot of policies that, you know, one size doesn't fit all in regions. The right education strategy for Albury, probably not going to work for Hay, you know, different places, but we tend to end up with very similar policies for very diverse parts of Australia. So our job is to get out there and pull together all the evidence about what's happening in regions. You know, we've got every piece of data we can find in the computers here, and guys kind of poring over that to see what it's telling us. And then we get out and about and talk to regional leaders around the country about what's changing for them. We take that back and we take it to government, to policymakers. We talk to senior bureaucrats and shiny bums here in Canberra about what's happening in regions and why what they assume is happening may not be the case. We get involved in the public debate and try and bust a few of the myths that are holding back our view about regions. And we also get out there and talk to regional leaders who are thinking about, you know, what do we do next for Albury, or what do we do next for Griffith in New South Wales, or Biloela in Queensland. You know, there's hundreds of regional leaders around the country who are doing their best for their place, but, you know, our ideas can help as well. So it's a big job, but we really love it.
Oh, it sounds brilliant. I want to unpack some of those myths in a second, but before we go too broad, Jack, do you have farming dreams? Are you an aspiring farmer wanting to get out of that office and turn the soil?
I do, mate. I do. So I come from, I grew up in an agricultural college, Tocal, in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales, and yeah, family backgrounds in agriculture. So it's always been on my sort of bucket list of things to do. I've married a cane farmer's daughter who's now got an avocado and passion fruit farm in northern New South Wales, work at the Department of Agriculture. So, yeah, I mean, we don't do a lot of agriculture stuff at the Regional Australia Institute just because there's lots of other people doing it. But finding a pathway to getting into farming is something my wife and I talk about every couple of weeks. But, you know, like the people using Cultivate Farms, we still can't quite work out how to do that. You know, I've been lucky enough to be pretty successful in my career to date, and I'm sort of mid-30s and done reasonably well. But to get from here to having a viable, exciting agricultural operation that you can grow, you know, I haven't found $10 million in the street, and unless I do, it's really tricky to work out how to make that happen. So, you know, it's still part of the plan for us in the next few years. What kind of enterprise, you know, we're kind of working on at the moment. But yeah, it's definitely on the bucket list, Sam. We just need Cultivate Farms to help us show the way. That's the problem.
That's great. Well, I was going to say we'd love to get you on a farm, Jack. You sign up. We'll make it happen. So, and maybe this is more broader. So why is RAI in existence? Like, is it so that that regional Australia holds some sort of significance economically, socially, etc.? Like, why is this there? And have you got some key points, I guess, around why politicians and shiny bums should care about what's happening over here in regional Australia?
Well, the basics, you know, if you listen to the public discussion about regions, you'd think it's, you know, three hillbillies and a goat somewhere in the middle of the desert. But it's actually 9 million Australians. It's actually 35% of Australians. It's 40% of the economy. It's 31 vibrant regional cities. It's hundreds of small rural towns. It's beautiful tourism destinations on the coast. It's Indigenous communities. And so the discussion of regional Australia has really been dominated by, small rural towns losing population and I guess some places having trouble with manufacturing and the negatives. But the population's still growing really strongly. If we got more international migrants, the population growth rates in regions would be the same as they are in the cities. Economically highly productive. A lot of those rural areas we get so worried about are enormous contributors to the economy. That gets missed or taken for granted. And the health and education outcomes for regions continue to be poor. And we think that's mostly because we're just not tailoring the way we're providing services and how we engage people to work in small communities. We kind of come up with good answers for cities and for most people, and regions get left on the edges of that sometimes. So the hard thing, and the reason REI is here, is because regions don't really fit in government. There's a health department, there's an education department, there's a industry department who are all working on it. The regional department's usually small and usually struggles to get that cross-cutting influence on different areas. And we really need to strengthen up the regional voice in the policy discussion. It's one of the reasons we haven't got better outcomes. So, the job's really important. It's massive, but we've made a real difference in making that positive case for regions, helping people in decision-making spaces to better understand what the options are and why things might work for regions or not. On issues like migration, natural disasters, cities policy, we've had a real influence in getting cities policy to actually take into account. We've got 31 cities, including Albury and Cairns and all these great places, who can also grow as well as our big cities. So, these are the kinds of things we're able to do because we're here, we're independent, and we're trying to make a difference for regions.
I love it. So one of those myths you hear a lot about, and maybe it's not a myth, it'd be great to unpack with you, is the inability for regional communities to retain and even attract new young families. Is that a myth, Jack? And what could we do if it's actually truth? What's happening out there to attract more young people back?
Well, like most of these things, it's true in some places and not others. So the place where all regions lose young people. I come from just outside of Maitland in the Hunter Valley. I finished high school, and you kind of go, hey, I want to go out and see the world. I want to go and see something new. I ended up doing uni in Armidale and going overseas and all these sorts of things. But, all regions tend to lose young people, often to the city. But people come back. So people, get to the stage where they're having kids or a bit older and they get sick of the city lifestyle, the ridiculous house prices, and come back. Typically to larger places, typically to places closer to the big cities where they can continue to be connected to whatever they've been doing. Yeah. It is really hard for young people to go back to rural communities just because of the job options. If you're wanting to be in those places, you've got a degree, you do need to find a way to get into a farm or start your own business or something like that to really have a good set of options in front of you. And that's why we think Cultivate Farms is important, because there just isn't pathways. Unless you can inherit the big swag of land, and some people can, there's just no pathways to get younger people back into those communities later in life. But I guess one of the things we say to people is, we worry about losing young people, but in some ways that's okay as long as we're getting them back later. Like if we get rid of an 18-year-old with an attitude problem and no qualifications, and then they come back in 10 years' time as a highly educated, successful person with a partner and a couple of kids, hey, I reckon that's a really good deal, and they come back with earning capacity and energy and new people for the schools. I think if regions think about it like that, well, yeah, it'd be great for them to have an option to stay, but there's nothing wrong if we continue to attract these people back to regions and they come back with great things to add.
I love that as a great perspective. So driving us, Jack, is this bigger purpose of we wanted to rejuvenate regional Australia, and we think, well, if we can tackle this access to capital issue, we can start getting younger people and aspiring farmers back to the bush, and then young people attract young people. Mm-hmm. Is our theory on track there, or is there other people we need to partner with to be able to really provide a solution that not only supports the farming world, but supports regional communities. Almost have this package of this is how you can start taking the future back for your community and get young people back.
Yeah, look, I think it's a great idea. I mean, capital is the issue. You know, if I had a business plan that someone was prepared to put investment in, I'm sure I could find the right property and start moving. So connecting young people with capital, also connecting them with some support so they can kind of skill up if they haven't been working on farms there, recently.
Yep.
So I really like the way you guys are going about kind of smoothing the way, or just providing a clear pathway. Okay, I can start today and actually pursue my aspiration rather than sitting around frustrated.
Yep.
I think but the farming, the farm's only one part of it. For small rural towns, got to get better services going. So people are doing innovative services online and things that can make some of those services available, particularly for people with young families. Going to make it easier to live there. We've done some great stuff with Google, our Regional Online Heroes competition, which has identified people who are doing really innovative business development, and so helping people who move to small communities find new business opportunities or find other ways to kind of create their own employment is really important. There's no silver bullet to this. It's like we've kind of got to chip away to take a few swings at the tree from different directions. And so I really like the idea of Cultivate Farms collaborating with people who are looking at taking entrepreneurial issues in or working to unleash some of the local capital. I think there's great opportunities there.
Us too. And we're really looking forward to it, hopefully in a few years' time, or even now if we can, to be able to sit down and think about this from a community by community basis and say it's not about getting extra roads or extra buildings built. It's about the community sitting down and saying, where do we want to be in 20 years' time in terms of culture and people and what we're doing with our farming and our town. And figuring out what you can do yourselves, and we would just love to be. It's not even that people need to use Cultivate Farms. It's more just we want to be seen as a way to think differently about how you can reach that goal for your community.
Yeah, but mate, you shouldn't be too modest. Something. I think the idea's in the right space. It's connecting people together without necessarily, Uber doesn't own the cars. You don't want to own the farms. It's about connecting people together because. It's network problems that miss out on a lot of economic opportunity at the moment. We've got a partnership with LinkedIn, and the better your networks, the more effectively you use your networks, the more likely you are to be successful. And so, to me, Cultivate Farms is solving that network problem. And if we can scale it so that it becomes ubiquitous, because that's what wins here. There's not many Googles. There's just one.
Yep.
There's not many Facebooks. Sure, there'll be some competition to keep you on your toes, mate. I'm sure you'd be happy with that. But, if you crack it open, we need something to scale up because that's the big... If we really want to get a regional Australia-wide change, we need ideas that scale up rather than great examples of things that can happen in one place, but we never really find ways to replicate it. And that's going to be the challenge. That's going to be the excitement over the next few years. See if you can make it happen.
We're up for it, mate. We're here for the long haul. We think we've got something here, so yeah, we'll go for it. I'll let you. You got the flu?
Yeah, it's a stupid thing. Anyway.
So, Jackie, you got any advice to anybody who's sitting in a skyscraper now, feeling a bit sad that they're not following their farming dreams, or someone in a regional town who's still got that passion to be a farmer? What's your advice around whether they should follow that or not?
Look, I think the first thing you need to do is kind of make the decision to quit. I think if you're, people can sit in their skyscraper for another 20 years, looking out at the distant fields thinking, geez, I'd rather be there. A lot of the barriers you have in those situations, I think, are not as big as you think they are. The loss of security, the risk of going somewhere new. So, I think never underestimate the power of actually making the decision to change. I think the other thing for people is and this is where I guess I'm at the moment, is how do you make it specific? So rather than I generally like to be a farmer, wow, do you want to be a goat farmer in the middle of the desert? Or do you want to be, a crazy small cropper person who kind of has like an acre and intensely farms it and goes to the markets on Saturday? Or, the kind of diversity of pathways is enormous. And so I think one way to build your confidence is to actually start narrowing down, well, what part of the country might work for me in terms of where to live, what kind of farming business kind of would interest and motivate me to be part of, and then find those areas that really match your ambitions and your aspirations, because then you can get specific and you can start looking at specific properties and thinking about the money, and you can get involved with Cultivate Farms and see if you can track down people who might be able to put some equity into your idea. So I think until you get really specific about the kind of place, the kind of farm that you want to be part of, it's hard for it to become a reality, even with all the resources that are out there. So quit and get specific. That's my advice, Sam.
I love it. I couldn't agree more. So I think you could sign actually to our free membership on our website, which has all that around it, saying what do you want to do, what's your farming whereabouts. So there you go, a little plug there
it's free. So
exactly.
Why wouldn't you
get on there? Although there is a paid account, and you're more than welcome to join into that as well. Jack, look, I know you're busy. You've got a few board members coming to chat to you in a second. So last question, a bit of a call to action. What should any aspiring farmer or anybody out there who's watching this who loves their community, let's say, and wants to get more aspiring farmers and or young people back to the bush, what are some call to actions, especially around RAI? Should they get in touch with you so that you can get in touch with more politicians? What are you thinking?
Yeah, look, I mean, if there's some great things happening in your community, or you've got a great story of positive change in regions, we'd love to hear from you. I think one of the biggest things we struggle against is just low expectations and patronising attitudes about regions, as if people don't have the capability to be successful, aren't already creating change. That the reason we do light bulb moments is to show the great initiatives and ideas that are coming out of regions, and with a little bit of simple support from us, might actually scale up and be successful. Or that's why we do light bulb moments. That's why we do Online Heroes, because this attitude that only good things come out of the centre of the city is really becoming pervasive, and it just reflects the hype and the media discussion. So we always want to hear from people who are creating change or see others creating great change in their region, so we can share those stories and use them to help make an impact. And regionalaustralia.org.au is our website. So there's a whole bunch of information. There's great opportunities to connect with other organisations. You can check out Light Bulb Moments. There's heaps of data in your place. There's heaps of ideas about the way governments can change and the way regional leaders can be successful. So, if you're passionate about regional Australia and you want to learn more and you want to be involved, get on regionalaustralia.org.au, because we'd love to hear from you. Tell us your great stories, or tell us what's challenging for your place and what you think might make a difference. Because even if we can't help you directly, we've got great networks, and we can often connect people up with others who do have the answers. So regionalaustralia.org.au, get involved.
I love it. And we're the same here as well. We want to support regional communities. So anyone with passion and drive and wants to get on or help promote, we're here as well. So that is great. Jack, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. Hope everyone got something out of this, and looking forward to seeing you around regional Australia in the future, mate.
Thanks, mate. It's a pleasure to support Cultivate Farms. I'm off to sign up for a membership, and I hope everybody else is going to do the same.
Brilliant. All right, mate. Thank you. Speak soon.
Cheers.